بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are going to continue the Q&A session. We started about the rules of slaughtering, and we stopped at a concept which is called shakhsi and I need to bring this down a bit. Shakhsi and
Well,
no.
no.
Are you muted? Okay. So we came to this question number 9, and some of you requested to elaborate further. So the idea is understood about shakhsi and kulli. Somehow we were at the end of the session and we're a bit in rush. So let me just mention it once more so that it's further clear. So we have the buying and selling or any trade and transaction could be shakhsi or could be kulli. Shakhsi or kulli. Shakhsi means specific. So let's say I have this, let's consider this hotel card money. Don't consider it credit card because credit card is kulli fi dhimma. Cash. So this is cash and this is a cup. And there are like tens of cups on the shelf. So I come to the seller and I tell him, I'm going to buy this, I'm pointing out this specific cup. Shakhsi means personal, yani specific. So I'm going to buy this specific cup. The same cups like it. There are hundreds of cups. No, but somehow I like this cup. Maybe there's a mark or maybe there's something, or maybe this is the unmarked. Maybe every cup has a kind of some place, but this cup had nothing in it. It's nicely intact. So I said, I'm going to buy this cup, okay, with this $10 or euro or pound, whatever currencies you feel, okay, 10 euros. So this payment, this 10 euro bill is specific, shakhsi, and this cup is shakhsi. So if I buy and he gives me something else and not this specific, the trade is not completed. You see? I can nullify the trade. I said, no, I wanted that specific. You give me something else. Oh, they're all same. No, I know they're all same. They're all same to you. But for me, I told you this specific. Or no, I took this and he saw the 10 euro bill. Then I gave him some other bill. It was a bit older, something. And this was a new note. So he says, no, 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 no. That bill, the new note you showed me, I don't want this one. So the sale is not complete. Why? Because the item purchased was specific. The payment given was specific. Both were specific, shakhsi. Now, at times, I'll just say, I'm going to buy one of these cups. They're all on the shelf. I'm going to buy one of these cups. I did not specify. So this is called kulli in Arabic. That means in general, one of any cup, unspecified. Okay, a cup I'm buying, but it's not specified. So it's called kulli. And the 10 euro bill was shakhsi. Done. The third scenario, opposite. No, I want this specific cup for 10 euros. I did not specify. So I took out, like, I had several 10 euro bills on top. I just gave him like that. That's fine. These are all correct sales, but it has consequences which we are going to study now. It has impact. So any 10 euros, but the cup is specific. So this is shakhsi, this is kulli. Previous example, this was kulli, this was shakhsi. Excuse me. The fourth scenario, both are kulli. I'm going to buy one of these cups. How much is it? 10 euros. Okay. So I give him any 10 euro. That's kulli. And he gives me any cup. That's kulli. It's okay. Perfect. But as I said, there are consequences. There are some effects on the shakhsi and kulli sales. So if I am asking for shakhsi and the shakhsi was not fulfilled, for me, the sale did not happen. If I'm asking for, or either sides are asking for kulli, either sides are asking for shakhsi, and it happened to be kulli, the sale did not happen. Either sides are asking for kulli, but it was shakhsi, not that big a deal. Okay. But shakhsi is made for certain specific reason and wisdom in the mind of the seller or mind of the buyer. So if this is understood, let's come back to question number 8. Let me give you another example for khums, because the question is about khums. So I have this 10 euro bill. 1 year passed. There's khums on it. So the khums is on this 10 euro bill, shakhsi. So I need to take out 2 euros from this 10 euro, and this 8 euro remaining will be khumsed. Khums paid, okay? Khums. This is called shakhsi. What happened? Khums is on this, so 10 euro, and I need to pay 10 euros from these, not from my pocket. If I pay from my pocket, there'll be another method to take the khums out. But at this point, as long as I have this 10 euro, which khums has been obligated upon it, I need to take 2 euros out of this, not from any other, because it's shakhsi. Let's say I went to the market and I found something. I want the chocolate or whatever, ice cream, whatever. And I took this out of forgetfulness. And I, even intentionally, you will be committing a sin. So intentionally, unintentionally, intentionally committing sin, out of unintention, you use this. Oh my goodness, it was 10 euros. I was supposed to pay khums of it. What will I do? He comes to the Maulana. He says, what will happen now? He said, don't worry. Those 10 euros were shakhsi. Now they are no more there. So it has become kulli in your responsibility. Kulli fi dhimma. Fi dhimma. Okay? Zimma. Zimma. Dhimma. In Urdu, they say zimma. Kulli fi dhimma. That means 10 euros no more there. But it is on my shoulder. So what does that mean? There's no specific amount. Any 2 euros. Any 2 euros, get it out and get your dhimma, get your responsibility relieved, get your obligation be relieved. So see, it was shakhsi, but since it's got deteriorated, so you purchase things, whatever happened to this got lost, the khums was shifted from shakhsi to dhimmi. Now it is not anymore on that, because you don't have that 10 euro specific bill. Now it has been shifted in your dhimma. So now you are going to pay 2 euros from any money. Obviously, there are a few details. I'm not going to go that because it's not a session of comms, but just to let you understand, to understand this ruling, that the 2 euros have gone into dhimma, kulli fi dhimma. So if this is understood, then let's take question number 8. إذا اشترى الهدي, if a person purchases the sacrifice animal, من مال استقر عليه الخمس, from money, 100 euros, khums is obligated upon it. Will that sacrifice be sufficient? So he says, إذا كان الشراء بثمن كلي في الذمة كما هو الغالب. If you purchase with an amount, okay, unspecified amount. He said, I'm going to purchase this. And that's normal. No one takes that. I'm going to buy that goat with this 100 euro. Nobody does that. He says normally that's what's kama wal ghalib. Mostly that's what's practiced. Once the deal is done, then you take out 100 euro and give it to him. You did not say this specific. If you had said this specific, that means that sacrifice, goat of sacrifice, the khums has been shifted into that goat of sacrifice. Okay, from this specific to that. But no, okay, 100 euro. So what happened when you paid? You paid that 100 euro. Whoopsie daisy. So now the deal was not on that specific 100 euro on which khums is obligated. The deal was 100 euro, any 100 euro. Okay, but the payment was done for accidentally, intentionally. That's, I said, it's not our thing. That's sin or not sin. But the payment was done from that. You took out from the pocket and it had marked K on it. For example, you did K. That means Holmes needs to pay. You did from that. The deal was not on this 100 euro bill, which has Holmes on it, which has K. You wrote on a small K. No, the deal was in general. So when you're taking out 100 euro, you gave him that 100 euro. So that's what he says, Agha, in his response. إذا كان الشراء بثمن كلي في الذمة, if the purchase was with the payment which you were obligated to pay for that sheep in your responsibility in general, not on a specific note, as it is practiced normally or usually, and the payment was done from that note which has khums obligated on it. وَالْوَفَاءُ مِمَّا اسْتَقَرَّ عَلَيْهِ الْخُمْسِ اجتزى به. It will be sufficient. But Sayyidina, what about the khums? There was khums on it, yes, but you did not buy it from that money. You gave that money, but the trade was not on that specific note. It was, you had to pay 100 euros. And you took out the note, which happened to be that 100 euro with the khums on it. Intentionally sinner, unintentionally not sinner. But the sale was not on this specific note. So he said it will be sufficient and he will be liable, responsible to pay the khums of the cost, the payment. That means 20 euros you are supposed to pay because now it's on your shoulder, it's on your dhimma, it's on your responsibility, liability. So the sacrifice doesn't have any khums in it. It's your pure. But that khums money which you lost it or you got rid of it somehow, intentionally and intentionally, is not in your custody anymore, you'll have to pay that khums. Because that khums is not in the sacrifice. But if it was shakhsi, that 100, from this, I'm getting this goat. So that is another ruling. But it was not normally, never people do like that. For this note, I will buy. He gave out, they had like 200-300 euro bills. He took out one and gave, and then he was looking, where did my combs K written gone? It's gone. Oh my goodness. What should I do? Just pay 20 euros. Homes, which was in your shoulder now. It's not in that money. That specific money is gone. So this is what he said. وَيَضْمَنُ مِقْدَارَ الْخُمْسِ مِنَ الثَّمَانِ. He will be liable to pay the khums from the payment he made. The money which was supposed to be. Question number 9. إذا علم الحاج بعد شراء الهدي بثمن شخصي. Same question. Now, after he purchased, the sale was on specifics. The sale was what? On the specific note. I am buying that goat of sacrifice from this 100 euro. Okay. So question number 9, if a person who's Haji, a person who's performing Hajj, he purchased the animal of sacrifice. After he purchased, he realized that he purchased a specific sale, okay, with the specific amount on which Homs was obligated, and he slaughtered it. He uh, slaughtered it, and the amount was from the specific note, K return, and he did the sale on that. And he realized when he did the sale that I'm purchasing that goat from this money. He paid him this specific. So the sale was not any 100 euros from his pocket. This specific 100 euro. I'm buying the goat from this 100 euro specific. And then it happened to be that this was Homs' money. Before it was general, and he paid from Homs' money, the note which Homs was obligated. It was lying in his house more than 1 year. So Homs became obligated. It was from his saving for 1 year. He kept it, and he was going for Hajj. Oh, this one last year, subhanallah, it's still there. So you need to pay the Homs. And rush and this and that. He just kept in the pocket. He said, when I go to Makkah, Medina, I'll go to the office of HAJJ Sistani and pay the Homs of this 100 euro there. And somehow, for some reason, he purchased goat of sacrifice. Question 8, it was not meant to be paid from this, which is Homs obligated. Question 9, he specified it from this 100 euro and he slaughtered. So what is the ruling here? Here now it's specific. So he divides the seller, okay, into 2 types of sellers. Seller believes in the Khums, like follower of Ahl al-Bayt. Seller does not believe in the Khums, like follower of the school of companion. As I mentioned, you can't impose your rules to someone who's not following your madhab. Okay? He has his madhab. He's following, and his madhab is respected. You have your madhab, and your madhab is supposed to be respected. So he has his madhab. Khums is only in wars. You guys, Shias, you have Khums in everything. But for us, Khums is only in war. Oh, I respect that, brother. So you purchase from someone from school of companion who does not believe in the Khums the way you say it, the way you believe. So HAJJ Sistani Damadullah says the sale will be okay, the sacrifice will be okay, it will be sufficient if the person who sold you was from the school of companion. However, you will be responsible to pay that 20 euro Khums of that 100 euro specific. Okay? So Sayyidina, what if it was not from the school of companion? He said, if the seller was not from the school of companion, then it will not be sufficient. Okay? So now what should I do, Sayyidina? The guy came out to be follower of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. Or the guy came out to be someone who believes in this concept of Khums. So he says, then it is not sufficient. So Sayyidina, what should I do? He says, if the buyer, the Hajji, was unintentional, ignorance, that means his unawareness was unintentional. Okay. No, first he says about the intentional. If he was unintentional, his unawareness was intentional, then his Hajj will not be correct. So people need to be careful about the specificness of the money of the homes. Don't take your home's money there and say, I'll give it to Agha. Either you isolate it in a way you're not going to touch it to buy anything, and mostly ihram and the goat of sacrifice. Even Sayyid al-Khui used to mention that if somebody has not paid homes and this and that, as long as his goat of sacrifice, animal of sacrifice, and libasul ihram is not from that money which homs needs to be paid from it, he will be okay. So Sayyid Sistani has more detail about being specific and unspecific. So here, if his unawareness was out of negligence, like many of our beloved Hujjaj, they do, come, please attend the classes of Hajj, course of Hajj. No, they don't want to. And then they go there, they mess up. Oh, I did not know. Well, we were holding classes. Why didn't you attend? So don't say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pardons Jahil, unaware person. No, unaware, those unaware who normally ask and they did not come across their mind, or unaware due to the no classes being held, no nothing, there's nothing on the internet. Now everything else on the internet. Okay, so then Hajj will not be valid unless if he gives another sacrifice, or the sacrifice is redone by him or her in the days of Tashriq. Okay, so if he managed to do the sacrifice in those days, then for Alhamdulillah. But so he needs to redo the sacrifice. Okay, what about if he was unaware, but unintentional unawareness, like he forgot, or there was no classes, or it never came across his mind to ask. So he says, if this person also, he repeats the sacrifice in the days of Tashriq, the days of sacrifice, okay, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, then his Hajj will be valid. Okay, after he realizes or remembers, he does it in the days of Tashriq, he repeats his sacrifice. So what happens if he remembers after the days of sacrifice? We said days of sacrifice. The general rule was, if after the days of sacrifice, for those who are excused, pardon, they do the slaughtering until the end of the Hajj, okay, and they fast. They combine between fasting as a replacement of the sacrifice, and they do they redo the sacrifice, but where they realize after the days of Tashriq. So yeah, and his Hajj will be correct. However, if he realized that after he realized that about his unawareness, this is all what someone whose unawareness is pardoned, unintentional, or he remembered who had forgotten. So for this person, if he remembers after the month of Dhul Hajj, then he needs to do this sacrifice in the upcoming year, and his Hajj will be correct. So the only scenario where the Hajj will be invalid, unless if he sacrifices in the days of Tashriq, is a person who who had intentional unawareness. Intentional unawareness. Other than that, there's always room. So I'll repeat this ruling again, okay, to watch out the sequences. You follow the sequences, and those who are like writing down this, make bullet points. So if someone was from the school of companion who sold this person sacrifice from the specific note which the khums was obligated upon him, then the sacrifice will be correct. However, he needs to pay the 20 euros comes. However, if it was not from the school of companion, then it will not be sufficient. So what should we do? Now it will not be sufficient. Two dots, 1, 2, 3, 4 sections are there. Section number 1. Now the school of companion is done. Now someone who is not from the school of companion, he sells you. So what happens if, bullet number 1, if his unawareness was intentional, which is not pardoned, his Hajj will be incorrect unless if he redoes the sacrifice in the days of Tashriq. Done. Bullet number 2, section number 2. What if his unawareness was unintentional or he forgot? So in this person has a subsection A. If he repeats the slaughtering in the days of Tashriq, after remembering, after gaining the awareness, if he does it in the days of Tashriq, his Hajj will be correct. What if he remembers after the days of Tashriq? Okay? Remember the rule of thumb. Then after the days of Tashriq, fine, but combine it with the fasting on the basis of obligatory precaution, or refer to someone next in line in the A'lami of Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah, if you're following Sayyidi Sistani. So on the basis of obligatory precaution to combine between slaughtering in Makkah and in the remaining days of Dhul Hajj, and to fast, slaughter in Makkah and fast, a replacement of the sacrifice, and his Hajj will be correct. So this section number, subsection A, that means ayam, days of Tashriq pass. So first one, he does it in days of Tashriq. Second one, the days of Tashriq passed. So combine. The third one, this is who? 1, 2, 3, is someone who was unintentional. Unawareness. Unintentional unawareness or forgot. So if days of Tashriq does, is Hajj correct. After the days of Tashriq, anytime in Dhul Hajj do it, but combine it with 10 days of fasting. Okay. Month number C, month of Dhul Hajj left. What should he do here? Next year, slaughter, and in the days of Tashriq, okay, and your Hajj will be correct. So this is someone who purchased the goat of animal of sacrifice with this specific note. Question number 10. So I'm going to ask you after the session to explain the shakhsi and kulli, those who are Hawza students, okay? Because it pops up everywhere whenever there's homes and buying and selling. Question number 10. If a person purchases animal of sacrifice from someone who stole his money, and the judge ruled out that, let's say I stole your stuff and you sued me in the court of School of Companion. The judge of the School of Companion gave a decree that pay him the money. Okay? So حاج اشترى هديه بمبلغ حصل عليه بحكم المحكمة الرسمية. Civil court, official court, ruled for the person whose money was stolen. This Hajj, the money was taken and he purchased the goat of animal of sacrifice. From who? Someone who stole some of my stuff. So, and in our fiqh rule, the judgment, and it's a fiqh rule. So because the judge is following the school of companion, and we are not following the rules of school of companion, so there can be some issue there because we rely on the books and hadith of school of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. They rely on the hadith of school of companion. So if there is a conflict in certain judiciary rule between the school of Ahl al-Bayt and school of companion, then that rule cannot be valid for a person who's in the school of Ahl al-Bayt. The same goes opposite for the school of companion. Let's say he was in Iraq or in a region or Iran. So the school of Ahl al-Bayt, a Shia judge, okay, made a ruling, but he's not following the madhab of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. So if he doesn't apply or adhere to the ruling, he's pardoned because he's not following madhab Ahl al-Bayt. Same goes both sides. So if someone was in the school, so this is a religious ruling more than, this is a usurp, more than a civil judgment. So it's a religious ruling. Even if it was correct, okay, and there was ways of justification, like in this ruling, the ruling per se is adhered or not adhered. Obviously, if the judiciary court brings police and forces you to apply, then you don't have any other option. Then you are going to apply to avert the harm from you. ما جعل الله عليكم في الدين من حرج لا ضرر ولا ضرار في الإسلام. So you will not apply the rule because the judiciary rule was not according to the madhab of Ahl al-Bayt. No, you will apply because it is enforced upon you by the executive body of the judiciary system. They want to execute on it. So I want to understand this is not this is not a case of sectarism. It's an academic issue. People, they need to understand. And it goes both ways. If someone in Iran or in Iraq or in a Shia court, wherever there's a Shia popularity majority, and there was a Sunni fellow, the ruling was made against him. And he has the right to say, I don't follow the madhab of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salam. I follow madhab of Sahaba. I follow Bukhari. You follow Kafi. I follow the Muslim, Sahih Muslim. You follow Wasail al-Shia. So there is a religious judiciary issue there. So Sunni is not obliged to follow the Shia judge ruling. And the Shia is not obliged to follow the Sunni judge's ruling. So if they have option, they can get away with it. But normally, if there is a judiciary system, there is an executive body. The police they execute the rule of the judge. So that Sunni who's in Shia country, he will be forced to apply. So why would he apply? Because he will not apply, then there's a case of harm. He will be in prison. He'll be. The same thing happens to the Shia in the Sunni judiciary system. He has to apply, comply. If he will not, then the rule that he will be harmed in the prison, or any executive order will be taken against him. So he is going to apply not because it's obliged religiously to apply, because it's a religious ruling. No, he will apply to avert, to push away, to keep away the harm from him. The same goes for the Sunni who is in a Shia judiciary region. So this needs to be taken in a healthy way, not in a sectarian way. It goes both ways. And both ways have to be respected. So let's come to this ruling. So let's come to this ruling. If a judge from school of companion gave a ruling for this follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, okay, it was in his favor that this money is yours because that guy stole. But on what basis it was given to him? The basis of the hadith in the school of companion. But I don't follow the school of companion. Maybe I was given more than what I deserve, or maybe I was given less than what I deserve. Maybe so if I take that money and I did not have legal right to take that money because of the legality of the position of the judge, even if it was in my favor. But religiously, I can't take it. It will be ghasb on me. I mean, he stole. No, I can't steal his money. You see how peculiar school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam has. That if the judge decrees for you, that was against you, we spoke. Now, what about for you? No, you should try to seek your investigation and everything that you have the right to take this money, not because a judge said so. No, because you know for sure that the amount which was stolen for me is exactly equivalent. You are taking the responsibility, not the judge. Allah will ask you, the judge was not following a school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Why did you take the money? Because now you will be stealing someone else's money. It's coming to you illegally, religiously. I hope this is understood because it's a very technical thing. The judge judged in my favor. But do you really deserve that money? You have to take the responsibility. Yes, I deserve it. It is exactly the amount which was stolen. Not because the judge says so. But if you are in a Shia judiciary system and you are favored, judge favored in your case, you can take it with your eyes closed. Because you know he applied the hadith narrated from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam in concluding his judgment, and he applied the hadith of Ahlul Bayt on the witnesses and the testimonies taken. As for the school of companion, the same goes on the other side. Okay, on the flip side of the coin. So here's the thing, that the guy will take the money. Does he deserve it? Because the judge said so? No. So how can he take? He needs to take the responsibility that, yes, this is exactly the amount. If it was more, he need to give it back to that person. Okay. If it was less and the judge is not giving you more than that, then la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Then la darar wa la darar. I mean, you don't want to bring more harm to yourself more than the money. Judge will say, okay, you don't like it, just give the money back. Okay, no, I'll take it. So you will avert a financial loss from you. Because many times the judge will say, see, I gave you. Now, if you don't like it, khalas, we'll not give you anything. So this ruling is depending on this introduction I mentioned. So if a person who's performing the Hajj purchased the sacrifice from the money which was given in his favor by the judge, is a civil judge or civil authority, okay, um, um, who judge in the favor of this Hajj, and in compensation of what was stolen from him by that person, the thief. Okay. So the question is, will this be sufficient? Because that money did not come to him on a proper Shia Islamic legal way. It came to him from other than Shia Islamic, either civil court, either school of companion. So the answer is, remember, you have to take the responsibility. So it says, if a person took this money in compensation of the goods stolen from him was equal to the amount which was stolen. Obviously, I'm simplifying the sentence. I'm not giving you the way I explained. I'm simplifying the sentence. Don't tell me this is a wrong translation. So I'm giving you the simplified version. If the amount paid for the sacrifice taken in compensation or for the goods stolen from him was equal to the goods stolen from him, okay, that's number one. Then it is okay. So you are taking responsibility. Or no, you took that money, kept it with your money. And when you purchased the goat of sacrifice, it was not that specific money the judge gave you in your hand. Okay? It was in general. So the sale happened where? In general. You did not say, see, this judge gave me 100 euros. I'm buying. No, you kept it. So the purchase was in general. And then you paid from that specific money which the judge gave you, like we mentioned previously. Again, it will be sufficient. Okay? But what if you purchase from that specific amount which the judge gave you, and it was more than what you deserve? That means in it there is extra you don't deserve. Like, remember the 20 euros of the combs? Whatever we mentioned there will apply here. You made a general deal and you paid from the specific amount, which was equal to your goods stolen, but it was specific amount, but you purchase in general, but it was specific amount equal to. It's okay. But what if the judge gave you more and you did not deserve more, which you have to give it back? Okay. So if it was in general, we said A, B, C, and inshallah, it will be correct. Question number 11. If two of the followers of Ahlul Bayt, they went for Hajj with a group of school of companions, which happens normally. They follow their religious rules. Our followers, they follow our rules of Hajj, and everybody is respected. So these two believers, and I think it's a repeated question in a different way. Two of the believers went with the group of the followers of followers of companion. Two of the followers of Ahlul Bayt went with the group of the followers of companion. And they heard from them that one sacrifice is enough for all the HAJJ. So they all participated in one sacrifice. So these two followers of Ahlul Bayt, they became partner in the sacrifice, one sacrifice which they sacrificed. So everybody paid little bit to just slaughter. And they heard that it is sufficient. When did they realize? After passing of the month of Dhul Hajj. So what would be the ruling? Says if they did not have any other option than just to share with this sacrifice. So then there is no problem. فلا يبعد الاجتزاء بذبح هديين عنهما أيام الذبح. If they were not able to slaughter without sharing with them. So if the sacrifice they shared were two animal, so he said it would be sufficient. he can consider one animal on his behalf, another animal on the behalf of the other, two hujjat. But they are also sharing, yes, but their sharing will be considered as a gift for these two hajjis, as long as there are two sacrifices. One can consider this on my behalf, but I'm sharing others. That's fine. Those who share you is considered gift for you. Okay. Remember, we mentioned previously about somebody um, offers the sacrifice on your behalf. You're not able to purchase, so and so. We did the details. And they sacrifice when? In the days of Hajj. Okay. So, will the sacrifice be sufficient? He says no. But we said that if somebody, no, the, the intention was not there to gift you. The intention was there that they are also sharing you in this sacrifice. Okay. And we mentioned previously the whole sacrifice, not sharing the sacrifice. Yeah, for mustahab sacrifice, if you are in hometown on the Dhil Hajj, many people, they do sacrifice, the Shias and Sunnis. They can share, sacrifice that. But here, okay, there are some very strict exceptional cases. Here, the only excuse is that they were with the caravan and they did one sacrifice for everybody, or two sacrifice. So can they consider these two sacrifice? One is for me and one is for him, and the rest sharing, we'll ignore their sharing. You can't do that. You can't do that. So what's the solution? So he says, إذا لم يكونا قادرين على ذبح الهدي إلا بالاشتراك فيه. If they were unable to sacrifice other than being partnered in their sacrifice, then the solution is that their sacrifice should be done next year. Okay. That means they need to repeat their sacrifice, because in the days of Tashriq, they don't have any option. They said, Khalas, we did it for you guys. You're our brothers. Okay. But yet, this is your fiqhi rule. We respect it. But our fiqhi rule, our ruling is a bit different. So we need to, brother, there's no time. Khalas, let's go. And they travel. Or they travel after that, they realize. Because the question says, if they were unable to sacrifice other than what was sacrificed by sharing, then they need to offer the sacrifice next year in the days of Tashriq. So here they were compelled. Somehow the circumstances compelled them. They don't have any experience. They can't go and buy sacrifice. They just went with the flow. Okay. And then 12th of Dhul Hajj, they travel Jeddah airport and done. As I said, Hajj Sariya, quick Hajj. Many of the Hujjaj, like when we go to Ziyarat of Arba'in, many people on the day of 41, they just leave. So on the 12th of Dhul Hajj at night, they were on flight and they left to their hometown. So what should they do? Obviously, if there's still the days of Tashriq are left and they can do the niyabat as the rule of thumb, ask someone, please, we were not able to. So we'll send you money by whatever money agencies are there. I don't want to advertise any of them. So therefore, they send money, but if not, then next year they need to sacrifice in the days of sacrifice. He says, other than this situation, Hajj will be problematic. أما في غير هذه الصورة, other than this scenario that they redo the slaughtering, either this year in the days of Tashriq or in the next year in the days of Tashriq, days of slaughtering. Other than this, it is as is problematic. That means as an obligatory precaution, their Hajj will not be sufficient. So either refer to another marja, okay, or kiss your Hajj goodbye, another who's next in line. Okay. Question number 12. Yeah. So now we come to the conditions of the animal of sacrifice. So question number 12 says, is it necessary to ascertain that all the conditions of the animal of sacrifice are fulfilled, or just a satisfaction is sufficient? You don't have to like examine every single thing. So how is this satisfaction gained? You're not expert in animalogy or zoology or sacrificeology or slaughterology. You're not logic on those things. The guy who told you that this animal fulfills your sacrifice. Now, the guy could be lying or the guy could be saying the truth. So it's upon you. Don't go to somebody who looks like a crook or who deals like a crook or who talks like a crook. That's where your your satisfaction will be shaken. This guy is too like cheesy and too like a, a type of person. So you don't have satisfaction. Okay. But if you go to a guy, looks decent, talks straightforward, talks this and that, and spices up with the swearing, Wallah, this goat is, and or you tell him, would you swear you're a Muslim? Would you swear that this goat is fulfilling the sacrifice condition? But let's say he was from the school of companion. So you tell him, these are the things I want. I mean, you're not going to test his things to check that they're there or not, or the the ear and horn and all those kind of there. Some and the age, that's the most important issue. He tells you that it's this year's old or this 6 months, because for the sheep it's easier to get sheep because sheep 6 months and it suffices. But for goat, then we mentioned that the age by years. So he says it is sufficient to have a satisfaction, not necessary certainty. Satisfaction that the conditions are fulfilled. So what about question number 13? What about if somebody who has the goat in his hand, can we trust that person? Okay. Again, satisfaction. He says, can I rely on someone who's selling me, who has the hand, that means the seller of the goat, or somebody who's bringing me the goat, my agent, someone who's handing over you the animal. And he's telling you it fulfills so be it the seller, be it an agent, be it your representative. So they tell you, the one who's handing over you the animal of sacrifice or sacrificing on your behalf, he's telling you it's fulfilling the condition. Can I rely on this? A rephrasing of the question to make it simple. He says it is problematic to rely on that person unless if that person gives you satisfaction. Question number 14. Question number 14. Question number 14 says, I have the responsibility to purchase the animals of sacrifice for the HAJJ in the caravan. Sometimes I face problem of asserting the condition of age because the seller tells me it fulfills the condition of age. For me, how can I be assured that he's telling the truth? So what should I do? Again, certainty not needed, satisfaction needed. because satisfaction is a level of probability which makes the intellectual satisfaction, not you want to just get rid of the sacrifice and, yalla, I'm tired and exhausted. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Like sometimes people, they do. No, you're putting yourself in sight of Allah. You are doing your part. Okay. Like the way the guy talks, the way the guy communicates with you, and all those kind of things are important to gain satisfaction. Certainty is you are expert in it. But all these questions, it's very difficult. You have to get an expert professional in this in the animal science to check out the age, and it's very difficult. So there is an area of probability which might lift it up with your personal judgment to the level of satisfaction, and might go to below the level. But it is probability. It's not certainty. It's the level of probability. It could go to larger probability, close to the certainty, out of your satisfaction. It could go below and become minor probability, and you lose your satisfaction. So you are the judge. You have taken responsibility, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put too much burden on you. You have to judge with your satisfaction. So he says that the seller claims the conditions are fulfilled. Okay. But for me, it is difficult to ascertain the words of the seller. So what should I do? He says, there must be a satisfaction in full, that the conditions of the goat or animal of sacrifice are fulfilled, that the age. So there must be there must be the satisfaction is required in the age, in the condition of the fulfillment of the age. Satisfaction. And it is not difficult to ascertain for people who are expert. That means Allah is saying, if you're not expert, why are you putting yourself in that position and taking huge responsibility? Okay. If you really want to do that, learn how to ascertain the age. Like they check from the teeth, open the mouth, and like the goat, and they say, bah, you tell them, open your mouth. They check the amount of the teeth, okay? And other ways. I'm not an expert. That's why I'm not going. I'm just a theoretical. I'm giving you the theory. I've never checked the age. I go with them, and I have a Maulana who's expert, and I throw it on his shoulder. He sacrifices. We give him the money for sacrifice, and we give him the support that he came with us and found a proper goat of sacrifice. So we put it on his shoulder. Because I'm not expert. Why should I take the responsibility? He takes the responsibility. Khalas. I'm relieved. So, yeah. So, and it is not difficult for an expert to ascertain the conditions, fulfillment of the condition. However, he says, relying on the words of the seller without having satisfaction is problematic. So if you can find some other marja, it says, if you don't have satisfaction, just rely. Most welcome. Refer to the next in line. But for S Sistani, if you don't have satisfaction, you can't. But satisfaction is a good take here. Thank you, Sayyidina, for at least allowing us to go to the larger probability and not necessarily the certainty. So you don't have to assure, you need to have satisfaction. And if you're smart and wise, and you know the psychology of the sellers, and that they're saying truth or lying, you can easily gain satisfaction. Even if you don't know the zoology or the sacrificeology. Question number 15. If the animal was animal for sale, animal for sale was incomplete. That means, remember, it needs to be complete, and there are some defects They're permissible. So if the animal which was for sale, if there was doubt, sorry, if there was doubt in the animal which is for sale that it is incomplete. So can someone uh, rule out the doubt by considering that the animal is okay, and would it be sufficient to sacrifice without without verification, without verifying that, because it is doubt. He feels something is wrong, but he's not sure. So can I just go with the positivity and consider it okay without going, without investigating or finding out about that defect? He says it is sufficient. It is sufficient to just consider, as long as it's doubt, sufficient. Remember, a person is innocent until proven guilty. That means you can't judge the people without evidence. So you can't judge this animal, poor animal that is defective or has defect without having evidence. So here we are using the rule of benefit of doubt as we apply on human. So he said that there's no problem. It would be sufficient to rule out the rule of benefit of doubt that there's no defect in that, even though it's recommended precaution to just investigate, verify it. Especially the verification is more specified if there was a congenital defect like during the birth. So some defects are known, they are associated with the delivery or with the birth, so congenital. Okay, what about the male and the female? Because there was one of the mu'min, I mean, they went to sacrifice, and one of the mu'min, the caravan sacrificed for him a female animal, female goat. So he was upset. I am a male, and you are sacrificing for me a female. Oh, what? Slow down. What's happening? Someone in the caravan, because in the caravan also there are muftis. They give free fatwas. Baba, check the marja, check the scholar in the caravan, okay? So, should the male be sacrificed for a male and female be sacrificed female, like in some of the cases, like some of the cases of aqiqah, the birth of the child, when you slaughter, the recommendations. So here he says the question number 16. Will it make any difference in the animal of sacrifice to be made? Does the gender, the gender plays role in the animal of sacrifice of being male or female? He says, if you are going to choose camel or cow, choose the female. Mustahab. It is recommended to choose female of the camel, female of the cow. And in the goats or sheep, okay, to sacrifice the male. So it's recommended. You can sacrifice male for female, female for male. It's mustahab that we, in general, if you sacrifice, regardless of male and female, camel and cow, choose the female animal. Goats, sheep, choose the male. Question number 17. What if the animal was castrated? Will it be sufficient? Now, this is one of the important conditions. So if you are expert or non-expert, the age and castration, that's why choose female, you'll be relieved. You don't have to check. You have to check with your hands, you see, whether there are there or not the equipments. Okay. So that's why the guy who comes with us, he puts his hand down to check out the equipment. So Alhamdulillah, I don't have to do all these kind of things, opening the mouth. And so from front and back, you have to check those things, age and the belongings. So therefore, forgive me, this is the ruling. I mean, I'm just mentioning the ruling as I'm not even using the words which are used here. I'm just saying castrated and finish it off. So he said, no, it will not be sufficient if he was castrated or neuterated, or whatever words you can use. Okay. Uh, then it will not be sufficient. So Sayyidina, all what is remaining is those type. So why the hell people, they say, why the hell they castrate this goat? Because the testosterone is generated from here. So what happens that this hormone reduces the fat and allows the muscle to grow like in any human. So as I was informed, they do this so that testosterone is not there and female hormone is governing the flesh so female hormone normally is responsible for accumulation of fat. So the sheep is juicy with so much fat in it. So they just castrate it. And then, but what happened? Then when they want to sell, if the Haji looks behind, nothing is there. So he will not buy. But what do? They cut off and they take the things out. And some of them they replace some kind of pebbles, this round, similar, and then they live with it. I know how you feel. But anyhow, so they have to check whether they are soft or they are stone. And nowadays, maybe they can put silicone so no one will know that this is soft, or it will always be like soft jellyish. So anyhow, I don't want to let you have disgusting feeling, but people they ask, why do they castrate it? I mean, people in this Hajj, the Hajj also they choose because they will eat, they will feed. So they choose like nice, juicy goats, so that the more the merrier, the more thawab they will get. But then, so what, Sayyidina, if all of them are castrated, all the juicy ones or the good ones are taken, you arrived in the place of sacrifice, well, the nice stuff was taken and these were remaining. So he says that if no intact was remaining, okay, then it will be sufficient to use these goats as sacrifice. On the narrowed case, necessity case, there is no animal remaining, those intact ones, or the ones which has intact. So just go with it. It's fine. Just make sure to go to the market before you judge. And sometimes I have this guy, he's very tough. No, Maulana, here we don't have any. Let's go. But there's so many, and the things, no, those are fake. Let's go. And he drags me to from one seller to another seller, and he looks between the 30, 40 animals there. And sometimes it happened that we slaughtered 10 from here out of 100 they had to sell. 10 from here, 5 from here, until we completed all the thing. So it's not easy. Okay, these people, those who are responsible in caravan, they have to go through touching mouth and all those areas, and then they relieve your responsibility. So if you pay them some extra money for their work, you will be getting reward. But no, they just pay, sacrifice $100, this $100. Baba, pay some little extra. The guy who's going is expert and is doing a lot of dirty things for you. Anyhow, I can speak because I don't have expert in that. But I think I have to learn also. I mean, just in case if there's no expert there, then it will be dumped on my shoulder. Anyhow, so those who are going with caravan of Hajj and purchasing sacrifices may consider going through these sessions. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, so the answer was if there's no availability, not in one seller's ranch, look, go through ranches around, they're all in one place, from this ranch to that ranch to that ranch, and you secure your sacrifice. But if you didn't find any, or you found some and some not, then just take the fill the gaps with those ones. Okay, so that's number one, castrated. But then there is another one, okay? Now I'm going to mention this as much as possible in a very polite way. If you don't like to hear, pause the sound of it. So what happened? There's castrated, cut off, and there is no. They squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, so they don't have to cut and castrate or cut. It melts down. The cells, they dissolve when the sheep is born. They do some kind of nutrition or squeezing of those genital things, okay? And they squeeze it and halas. The sac is there, but there's nothing inside it. So that is called mardud. That means it's been battered of so it was not cut. It is not cut off. The sac is there, and they are like diminished and vanquished for the same purpose they do for the fattening of the sheep, so that more money can be gained. This poor goat or sheep have to suffer their whole life for extra amount of money the seller can get. Yeah. So the one which is battered, okay, with those organs, um, will it be sufficient? So we have one is castrated, cut off, and one is this battered or neuterated. And what is the difference between castration and neutration? Ask Mullah ChatGPT, Mullah Google. Okay. The thing is that in one it is cut off, in one that the sac is there, but there is barely something inside it. There is some traces, okay, of the remainder, but it's not as normal as it's supposed to be. He says if it's not cut off, neuterated, it's fine, it's sufficient. So he says al-aqwa. To me, that means there's a difference between fuqaha in this ruling. To me, absolutely, in every case, you can get the one who's battered or who has those things, but it has been diminished. Um, it's okay with that. But castrated, neuterated, that's a defect. Here, there's not a defect. Things are there, but they have been battered. Question number 19. It has been mentioned in the books of law that it is not sufficient to slaughter the castrated, okay, except if there was no other choice available, no other intact choice available. And it is also mentioned that if someone had battered testis, okay, and so he says, or someone was inflamed, some testes might be inflamed. So or no, there's a disease called the veins, they get inflated, not the thing, the veins, the lines, they get inflamed, inflammation. So these three terminologies, khasi, mawju, mardud. So the question is, what is the difference between these three? The khasi is not allowed. The other two are permissible. And we mentioned in English, when I translated, it was all mentioned. The al-khasi manzu' al-khasitain. The testes are removed, castrated totally, cut off. Wal mardud, the one who's battered, like squeezed and battered, until the effect of they are there. but they are not functioning. Okay, they have been diminished or minimized or whatever by when they were born, they were like minimized so that they don't produce those hormones which which will prevent fat. If you feel some pain, tolerate. This is the last ruling here about this area. So the cutoff, that's Husi. The battered mardud, that has been squeezed and diminished. The effects have been gone. Mauju, inflamed, is they have been yeah, the veins. Yeah. So the veins have been inflated. Anyhow, there are two types of defect. Things are not there, don't buy. Things are there but messed up, buy. Khalas, that makes it simple. And let the expert decide. You don't have to touch those things. Question number 20. Is it permissible to slaughter some goat which has the ears been cut off? Sometimes there is there is a cut in the ear, but the ears are there. In some goats, the ears are cut off. These are signs to distinguish. This is my property, that's your property. You know, sometimes your friend comes with his 100 goats, and you are with your 100 goats and walking along together, and they get mixed up. So how do you know? Your goats are marked and signed and signatured with certain signatures. You have that person's goat. Yes, sometimes they put that, I forgot the name in English. They burn that, they mark with that the iron rod. Anyhow, it has different, they have different methods to do that. Anyhow, so one of the methods is to make a cut in certain area of the ear. The ear is like a bit long, okay? So you make a cut somewhere, that's your signature. So whenever you find a goat where there is cut here, and you can also know that the cut was not here, that's not yours. Give it back to that person, the owner of that goat. So these are signatures, but what happens for sacrifice, it becomes problematic. So he says that if the ear was cut, okay, even like even small amount of cut, like cut piece chunk out, he says it will not be sufficient, either entire, either partial cut off. So there's a mark and there is a cut off. So he says if it was a cut in a way the animal is considered defective, has a defect, then it will not be sufficient. But if the cut was minor as a mark and it was normal, it was not considered orphan in a common consideration as a defected animal, it would be sufficient. So this is question number 20 and 21 about the cut. So he says it is not sufficient. I'm merging 20 and 21. It is not sufficient to slaughter, okay, the animal of sacrifice if the ear was cut totally or partially in a way it is considered a defect in an animal in the common consideration. Okay. However, if it was a minor cut in a way that it is not considered a defect in the animal of sacrifice, then it will be sufficient as long as it is not considered a defect in a common consideration. It will be okay. But if it was considered a defect in a common consideration, that cut because all the animals they have cut. This goat has a bigger cut in a way, but these cuts are mostly negligible. But the cut which is like the ear is cut half or entire ear is cut, that is considered mostly in the common consideration defect. But these are like considered marks, signatures of of the owners. Okay, this is one part. The other part is, what if someone uh, believed or had a satisfaction that the animal of sacrifice was intact, but after he purchased, it appeared to be defected. Okay, after he purchased, it appeared to be defected. So after you purchased, so you paid. When you paid, it was you had done your homework and you were satisfied that there's no defect. But after payment, it became yours. You realize there's a defect. So they say apparently it's okay. After purchasing, you realize it's okay. The Hujjaj need to be thankful, those people who go in caravan buy them. This all hassle, and you're relieved in your tent and sleeping. Yet you are annoyed. Maulana, when will they sacrifice? When will we have? I mean, many times people are, oh, I need to get rid of this ihram. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Baba, those people are not playing games there with the goats and sheep. No. They are doing, and it takes time to get a proper sacrifice for you. Calm down. You are sitting in the tent, relax with this air-conditioned tent. You'd have gone with them. This impatience happens in me. I've seen that. And sometimes I don't go, I have the phone with me. Yes. Oh, we are still looking. I mean, you want to take the response. No, 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 no. Please do your homework. Find the things which are conditionals. Otherwise, you are responsible, not me. I've kept it on your shoulder. So then we will need some time because we are not getting easily proper goats and proper sheeps. Because the best thing is to those people who are doing the sacrifice, they go as soon as possible from Muzdalifah. They after sunrise, they go fast and they pelt the Jamrat al-Aqaba and immediately go to the and they start purchasing the goats of sacrifice or animals of sacrifice to relieve the Hujjat. But some caravans, they go late there, it's gone, so they have to go from one to another. So it takes time. The people, they need to observe patience. Yeah. So he says that if you did your homework and you were satisfied, it was okay, but then later on it came to be defective, then it will be sufficient. Question number 22. I merged 20 and 21 together. Yeah, this is also in connection with the previous. So let's say the guy is going to pay the money. Okay, I'm going to get this sacrifice. And he's paying this money, and the guy is going to take the money. And his eyes fell down behind. Oh, seems some weird thing. Since the goat doesn't have those things. Okay. So before paying, he realized that there's a defect in those or ear. His eye, it seems there's a serious problem in the ear. So he realized when before handing the payment, this is not sufficient. This sacrifice will not be sufficient. You should have retracted. No, oh, wait, I'm not going to buy this. There's a problem in the in the ear or behind or something like that. No, 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 no. I'm not going to buy this. Good, alhamdulillah. But you're looking at the defect and you're finding that there's a defect. And even you went down with one hand, you're handing the payment, and one hand you're touching down to check, okay, there's something there or not. So, and you gave, but you realize that the defect was before paying. So that will not be sufficient. That's question number 22. Most apparently, but some Maraja might say it's okay, so you have to check your marja. Question number 23. It has been mentioned again in the Manasik that if somebody buys an animal of sacrifice, a goat, I'm going to give an example of goat every time I say animal of sacrifice. If somebody was going to buy a goat, he was satisfied that it is intact, there's no defect. After he gave the money, he saw that the goat has defect, such as being castrated. So will it be sufficient? He says no. When he says, if you pay, after payment you realize it had defect, it will be sufficient. But castrated is not sufficient even after payment. That means you have to find, unless, remember, unless if there was no other options. Okay? If there's no other options. But if there are other options, then this goat of sacrifice is not sufficient. You have to buy another one. Okay, question number 24. We have 5 questions in this section, and we'll see if they are all interconnected. So someone who goes to Hajj and he was unaware about so many rules of Hajj. But whenever he was, however, when he was in Mina and he went to slaughter, he took a goat. He took a goat and slaughtered it. And he was unaware about the conditions of the sacrifice. So he did not pay attention to the conditions of the sacrifice, from being intact, from any defect, and the age, and all those things, okay, which are required in the goat of sacrifice. After passing of several years, he started doubting, did I slaughter that goat which the goat which I slaughtered, was it fulfilling the conditions of the sacrifice or not? So now he has the knowledge of the conditions of the sacrifice. And he knows that the conditions were not fulfilled. So will it be sufficient for him to send the money to buy a new, to redo the sacrifice through some HAJJ so that they can slaughter on his behalf? This was a long question. The answer, in the case of doubt, there is no problem. It is sufficient. Remember, a person is innocent until proven guilty. A goat is innocent until proven to be defective. However, if he remembered that the conditions were not fulfilled, or he was unaware, but unintentional, his awareness was unintentional, then whatever he slaughtered would be sufficient. Whatever he slaughtered would be sufficient. Okay? فإن كان جاهلا قاصرا. So if he was and if he was unaware, okay, unintentional awareness, next year he can slaughter with the remedy of sending money to the Hujjaj and this and that. However, if he was shortcoming in rulings of Hajj, like he had opportunity to learn, he never learned. he was negligent in learning. It came in doubt. He never asked, and there was someone he could ask. So in this case, on the basis of obligatory precaution, his Hajj will be invalid on the basis of obligatory precaution. So he needs to refer to next in line, marja, to see what does he say, or he has to do the Hajj again. Question number 25. So if somebody slaughtered an animal of sacrifice, okay? So after slaughtering, you clip off your hair, shave off your head, and you exit the state of ihram. So after that, after sacrifice, he did all what is next. But then he realized after exiting the state of ihram that the age was not sufficient, the age of sacrifice. So what should he do? He said, if he realized in the days of the shriq, days of slaughtering, redo the slaughtering, and there's no problem on him. If it was after the days of sacrifice, obviously recommended precaution to combine between what? Between the sacrifice in Makkah in Dhul Hajj and fast in replacement of sacrifice. We mentioned this previously. But the scenario was a bit different. The rule was same. Question number 26. If someone defined a sheep, okay, for a specific Haji, let's say, and sometimes, yes, this is I'll mention, sometimes those smart caravans, smart Hajjaj, they go buy the goats of sacrifice from a trustworthy seller and pay them half of the money. When? In the first, before they go to Arafat, in first Dhul Hajj, second Dhul Hajj, where you can find easily the goats and sheep which fulfill your condition. And the seller marks your marks, okay? But it's also as a precautionary measure before sacrificing, double check, because maybe the good ones, he sold it and got the defective ones and he marked your marks with it, okay? So that's the thing. Or you know the Ziplocs, you bring your Ziplocs from United States with a specific color, and you tie the Ziplocs on the corner or on the hand, but don't strangle the. So those Ziplocs are not available in Mina, Muzdalifa, in the grocery store. Those Ziplocs are specifically, you'll find it in Europe or America, or some kind of special color is there. So just Ziploc their hands. So that will be difficult to replace. Otherwise, if you just tell the guy to paint, many times they sell your sacrifice to someone who gives them more money, and they put another one and they painted that paint. That happens. I mean, there's so many cons there. So that's why if you purchase your goats earlier, before, like first Dhul Hajj, second Dhul Hajj, even when you come in Dhul Qa'dah, just purchase and secure it somewhere. Okay. You hire the guy who has a ranch. You tell them, I'll pay you for this area. This area is ours, so please block it. And you ziplock the hands of every goat of your goats. So this is something. So you specify. So the question is, you specified you purchased and you specified in your caravan that this goat is for Fulan Hajji. So that person, Hajji, remember, Ayatollah Sistani Damadullah has this exceptional situation that if the purchase was if the goat was purchased and specified, then you can shave off your head and do the tawaf and all the things which are after the shaving of the head. But you cannot take off the ihram in certain cases unless if the sacrifice is given in those days of Tashriq. So if, let's say, a goat, a sheep was specified for a specific Hajj in the caravan, and that Hajj exited the state of Ihram by shaving or clipping of hair, without knowing that that specific sheep was defined, but it was not paid for. Remember, as I said, they don't pay the full amount, they pay half of the amount. But it was designated and the agreement was done. We are buying 100 goats and this 50 we are paying you now. So there was some specific, they said that these will pay you afterwards. Okay. So from those unpaid was this Hajj's specific goat. So this is no problem. Okay. There's no problem. Just do the payment if the payment was not done. Question number 27. A person who doesn't have sacrifice or the money for the sacrifice, if he has to fast 10 days in the replacement of Hadi, can he fast the 7th Dhul Hajj and the 8th Dhul Hajj and the 9th Dhul Hajj? Okay. So if he chooses to fast these days, 3 days, because 3 days in Makkah, 7 days in your hometown. That is the ruling, general ruling of the fast. 10 days, and in the Quran, it's mentioned this rule clearly. 3 days in Makkah, 7 if they return to their hometown. So is it permissible for that person to define his days 7th, 8th, 9th Dhul Hajj with the official declaration of the School of Companion, such as he starts from the 7th Dhul Hajj they have, 8th Dhul Hajj they have, because we have fiqh difference in the moon sighting as well. So in reality, it was 6th Dhul Hajj, but according to the fiqh of School of Companion, it was 8th. So can they follow the fiqh of the School of Companion there in Saudi and consider the 6th of ours, 7th of there to be 7th of ours? No, he says 7th should be 7th. That means 10th of the Hajj, if you are going to fast, it's not going to be your day of Eid. The day of Eid, the religiously proven day of Eid, according to your madhab, your school of thought, is where your fasting is prohibited. So if it's not 10th Dhul Hajj, it's 9th Dhul Hajj, then you fast that day. So 7th, 8th, 9th, according to the proper moon sighting, based on school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, there are a few questions about fasting in replacement of the goat of sacrifice. Since there are 10 questions and they're all repeated, I'm just going to go through them quickly, because most of the people, they have sacrificed, goat of sacrifice. So this is not irrelevant. So if the person faces this situation, they can always call the scholar of the caravan or scholar in their hometown to check for them the ruling. So what is the ruling of these 10 days? We mentioned 3 days in Makkah, 7 days when he comes back. So the question is it permissible to delay the fasting of 7th, 8th, 9th Dhul Hajj in replacement of the sacrifice to after the days of Tashriq, optionally, like after the days of slaughter, like after 13th Dhul Hajj? He says it is permissible, no problem. Either you fast now, either you fast after the days of Tashriq. So question number 2, a person doesn't have money for sacrifice, but he has some clothing Okay, he could sell those clothing and buy the animal of sacrifice. So will fasting be sufficient for him? I mean, if he's going to sacrifice, the person who has asked the question is a bit strange. Let's see how Agha responds. So, من لم يجد ثمن الهدي, whoever does not have the cost of the sacrifice. Okay. So, but he has some valuable cloth which he can sell it and buy a goat of sacrifice. So, will the fasting be sufficient, or he has to sell the cloth? This is how it can be rephrased. He says, if the clothing was not needed, he was needless of those clothing at all, then on the basis of obligatory precaution, he should sell them and then buy with that amount the sacrifice. However, if he needs those clothing, okay, then it will not be obligatory upon him to sell those clothing. So it depends on, do you need your clothing or not, or they're extra. You can get rid of them and you can survive. You have enough clothing. Question number 3. If it was obligatory upon a person to fast in 3 days in replacement, 10 days in replacement of the sacrifice, he fasted 3 days in Hajj and he came back to his hometown. So should he be immediately starting the fasting of his 7 days, or he can delay? The answer is, it is not obligatory to, once you arrive, next day, fast. Or if you arrive before Fajr, this start from fasting from this day. He says it's not obligatory. He can wait, he can fast on his own time. Question number 4. If the fasting in replacement of the sacrifice was obligatory upon this person, and he made an intention to stay more than 10 days in Makkah, okay? So, and then he should wait. He should not fast in Makkah. He should wait until his fellow return to his hometown, or 1 month passes over and he's in Makkah. So if he's in Makkah, he needs to complete 1 month. Then he can fast in Makkah. Or after he arrives his hometown with the caravan, they leave, that's where he starts. So the question is, the counting of the month should be from the beginning of the month. So no, he says, فَمَا هُوَ مَبْدَأ هَذَا الشَّهْرِ هَلْ زَمَانُ نِيَّةُ الْإِقَامَةِ. So when does this month start? You know, if he's still in Makkah, he needs to fast in Makkah, 1 month should pass. So it says beginning of this 1 month is from the time he decided to stay in Makkah more than 10 days, or it is something else. He says the beginning of the month, okay, beginning of the month of his residence in Makkah, which allows him to fast after passing of this month. Remember, the ruling is either he goes back to hometown, or his caravan goes back, or 1 month passes and the caravan is still there. So if he wants to fast in Makkah I'll repeat again. So if he wants to fast in Makkah the 7 days, when should he fast? So the ruling is he should wait until his caravan leaves, goes back to their hometown. Or his caravan is staying, so 1 month should pass. So the question is, when is the beginning of this 1 month? So he says the beginning of the month is the time where normally people they leave, okay, and he decides to stay in Makkah. So the caravan decided we are going to leave, and he decided he's going to stay. So the moment of the decision is the moment where your 1 month starts. So 1 month has to pass in order for you to fast in Makkah. So the question is, the ruling is فَلَا بُدَّ أَنْ يَصْبِرْ حَتَّى يَرْجَعْ أَصْحَابُهُ إِلَى بَلَدِهِمْ, until his fellow men, caravan goes back to their country, or 1 month passes, then he can start fasting in Makkah if he wants to fast in Makkah. But those 3 days are in the days of before going to Arafat, including the day of Arafat, or after that. Question number 5. The Hajj, which is performed by a representative, the entire Hajj. If someone gave you like $6,000 to do the Hajj on behalf of his relative or someone, and $6,000 barely covers your cost, like this guy is a pure accountant. He has accounted your penny to penny which you will spend. He knows you. So you saw, oh my goodness, like I will be leaving Makkah with no money in my hand. And the money given to him for Hajj was not sufficient to buy the goat of sacrifice. Baba, if I'm going to buy the sacrifice, I will have to sacrifice my food. So there's not enough money. However, he's able to take a loan and pay the sacrifice. So is it obligatory upon him to take a loan and pay for the sacrifice, or it is permissible for him to fast in replacement of the sacrifice? The answer: he has to get the sacrifice even by borrowing money, because he is representing by being hired to perform the Hajj out of option. Nobody forced him to do this Hajj because he's been paid. So there's a contract agreement. And when you are paid to perform Hajj, you agreed on the amount which was given to you. Number one. So number one, you agreed to go by being hired. Number two, the amount which was given to you was agreed upon. You agreed and you took. And number three, when you take a responsibility to do something out of being hired, you have to fulfill it. You can't leave the sacrifice. You should have asked him for that. So he says, this is what is understood. Okay, I'm using simplified word. This is what is understood in the contract of being hired. You should have done your calculation, okay, before taking the contract of being hired. So this is the initial ruling. However, if he was hired to perform Hajj of Tamattu without the sacrifice, because he is not able to, even from the aspect of the amount was not sufficient, then it is not obligatory upon him to secure the sacrifice. So if he was given the amount, excluding the amount of sacrifice, because he was not able to, okay, he did not have enough amount, then you don't have to sacrifice, okay. Number one, إلا أنه من قبيل الاستئجار. So the sacrifice was out of the contract of being hired, okay. So it is not obligatory upon you to get the sacrifice. So he will have to arrange his sacrifice, tell him, do payment, fast, because he is the person responsible for sacrifice, not this person. So why should he be fasting? Okay. Why should that person be fasting? You did not give me the money for sacrifice. So the contract was, see, there's an optional contract. You know that the animal's sacrifice money of the sacrifice is not included, or you know you got a package and you realize it was not sufficient. So it's your responsibility. Why did you take it? So borrow money and get sacrifice. That's one contract. Other contract was no. They gave you the money, excluding the money of sacrifice. So you took the money and you know, and he knows that the sacrifice money is not included. Then you are not obligated to pay the sacrifice. You will just to perform the Hajj, okay? And you are not obligated to perform the sacrifice. Unless if you said that, okay, no problem, I'll take this money and I'll arrange the sacrifice. So then you will have to, you committed, though the money of sacrifice was not in it, and you know, and he told you, then you took the responsibility, then you will have to fulfill that. إلا أنه من قبيل استئجار من لا يتمكن من العمل الاختياري. Okay, so you are unable to do the optional optional sacrifice, so you are compelled. So he says that number one, let's break it down again because everything got intertwined. So the number one scenario is he has to secure the sacrifice even by borrowing money. Why, Sayyidina? Scenario number one. Because you had an option to say no. You had an option to calculate. So you took the package, and package is inclusive of sacrifice normally. Normally, that's the case. And if it was short, you should have realized. So now you are responsible to perform the sacrifice. That's number one. Number two scenario. No, you were just given the money to perform the Hajj al-Tamattu without sacrifice. Okay? Because the one who hired you was not able to give you, either not having sufficient money to give you to sacrifice on his behalf, then you are not obligated to sacrifice on his behalf. Unless if it was from the type of a hiring, he gave you something which is exclusive. Sacrifice is excluded from him, from that money. You accepted it and you said, okay, don't worry about sacrifice, I'll do it. Then you have to even take money, borrow money, because you chose. Though the money given to you was without sacrifice, but you made an option upon yourself. It was option. You took this option and you said, I will do that. Don't worry about it. And that is against the obligatory precaution. Okay? That is against the obligatory precaution. إلا إذا كان المنوب عنه مستطيعا because that person needs to give you money, okay, in a package, like the scenario number 1. And if scenario number 2, he gives you without sacrifice, okay, then you don't have to sacrifice. And if you choose to sacrifice on his behalf, he says you will, but this is against the obligatory precaution because the responsibility of the sacrifice is not upon you. He did not give you. You have taken the option upon yourself. So the person will still be responsible to pay the sacrifice on the basis of obligatory precaution, unless if the one who is represented, the one who represented you, he doesn't have the capacity for the sacrifice. Question number 6. If a person performing Hajj Tamattu did not have money for the sacrifice and cannot fast, what is the ruling? He is one of those who are excused from fasting: elderly age, sickness, problems, disease. You know, like in chapter of fasting, there are people that are exempt from fasting. So Agha Damadillo says, إذا هل هلال محرم ولم يصم, if the crescent or the moon is sighted for the Muharram, that means first Muharram was proven, and he did not fast in Dhul Hajj, even due to his inability. So what? He needs to pay the sacrifice in the next year. What if he dies? Excuse me. What if he dies and he did not have money for the sacrifice? So وإن لم يبعث به حتى مات فالأحوط لزوما أن يصوم عنه وليه. So on the basis of obligatory precaution, his inheritor guardian should fast on his behalf. Okay? On the basis of obligatory precaution, should fast those 10 days. Let's take this step by step. If the moon was sighted of Muharram, month of Dhul Hajj, he did not fast. And even though he was unable to, for sickness or whatever, the next year he needs to send money in Mina for someone who is trustworthy to sacrifice on his behalf. He was not able to fast and he was not able to send. He died. Then his guardian inheritor should fast on his behalf. Question number 7. So this question is, if a person cannot afford sacrifice and cannot fast, what is his responsibility? Even though from the beginning, from this condition he had from the beginning, is he even considered to be able that the Hajj becomes obligatory? Is he considered to have ability for Hajj, that the Hajj becomes obligatory upon him? Because if he's not able to sacrifice, then he's not able to perform Hajj. Then Hajj is not wajib. So the question is that if he's not able to slaughter sacrifice, he's not able to fast, what is his responsibility? And if he was from the beginning unable, is he even considered someone who has the ability of the Hajj in order for Hajj to be obligated? He says, وأما إذا طرى عدم التمكن في الأثناء فيذبح في الهدي في السنة القادمة. He was able to, but the inability to sacrifice encountered during the Hajj, or inability to fast. So no problem. Upcoming year, sacrifice. And if he knows that he will, and if he knew that from the beginning he was unable to sacrifice, so he says there's a problematic that he is able to perform Hajj. Okay? ففي كونه مستطيعا ولزوم الذبح في سنة لاحقة تأمل. So he's able to, but not able to sacrifice the same year, able to sacrifice the same second year. So is he qualified? Is Hajj obligated upon him? Is he considered able? Say the Sistani has a limbo situation. This is have a problem. He goes for Hajj and he doesn't have he is unable to. So his first Hajj will not be considered Hajj al-Islam. Okay? And if he doesn't go and he has the ability to do everything except for sacrifice, then there'll be problem if he doesn't go for Hajj. So he can't take a decision. He says on the basis of obligatory precaution, like he says, precautionary measures must be observed. One should not abandon precaution. So what's the precautionary here? Go for Hajj, okay, and next year repeat the Hajj if he's able to, and slaughter. So take all the precaution means take all the probabilities to relieve the responsibility, or refer to another marja who will consider this type of Hajj sufficient and this type of ability to be a criteria of obligation of Hajj. So anyhow, this person is knew that he was not able to from the beginning. Then his obligation for Hajj is in limbo. On the basis of obligatory precaution, he needs to observe the precautionary measures by going for Hajj and slaughtering, and going for Hajj next year to fulfill if he was able to. If he was able to, then he needs to redo the Hajj on the ability, proper ability. Otherwise, he can send the sacrifice to Mina. Question number 9, to Makkah. Question number 8. If so, again, repeated question. If somebody is not able to sacrifice, and he was supposed to fast and he did not fast the first 3 days, and the hilal, the moon was sighted, or the month of Muharram was proven, that means the Dhul Hajj is gone. So he says that what if he cannot offer the next year sacrifice? Answer is the year after. So the sacrifice years can be rolled over, not rolled over, can be carried forward. So if not this year, you're not able to, next year, okay, in the days of Tashriq. The year after, it carries forward. Question number 9. And these 2 questions will be last for today. We'll call it a day. Question number 9. Whoever was unable to, if someone was unable to sacrifice and he was unaware about the obligation of fasting, and he only realized about that fasting. Remember, the 3 days needs to be in Makkah. He came back to his hometown and then he realized, okay, I was supposed to fast 3 days here. So he says, if he realized the ruling in a time that he's able to fast 3 days, the first 3 days, before the passing of the month of Dhul Hajj, he needs to fast the first 3 days which he missed in the month of Dhul Hajj. What if he's not able to? He says then next year in the month of Dhul Hajj, he's going to send the sacrifice. وَإِلَّا تَعَيَّنَ الْهَدِي. So fast in the month of the Hajj, especially the first 3 days. If you're not able to, if you did not do it, and month of Dhul Hajj came out, then next year you send the money of sacrifice, or let someone sacrifice on your behalf. Last question for today. Whoever knows that he's going to go for Hajj this year and was unable to slaughter according to the religious criteria, okay? Is it sufficient for him to fast? Because he caused himself to be in a situation that he is unable to sacrifice because of his negligence. Okay? So someone knows that he's going to go for Hajj Tamattu this year. Sometimes these questions are like, من يعلم أنه إن ذهب إلى للحج تمتعا, whoever knows that if he goes for Hajj Tamattu this year, he will not be able to secure the sacrifice according to the religious requirement. Will it be sufficient for him to fast in the replacement of the sacrifice, even though he by himself has kept in this position intentionally? Intentionally, he knew that he will not be able to, and he kept himself in that position. He says, yes, even that his choice was bad, out of his bad choice, he kept himself in the situation that now he's in Hajj, but cannot fulfill the sacrifice according to the religious criteria. So it is sufficient for him to fast. It is sufficient for him to fast. It will be enough, okay, in such condition. However, someone need to slaughter on his behalf in Mecca, okay, or in any place in the Haram. So he says, نعم يجزيه الصيام في مثل ذلك. In such case, he can fast because he cannot, he has the money, but he cannot find a proper criteria, or he is unaware about checking the animal's teeth and front and behind and all those kind of things. So he's not expert. So he doesn't know that he will get religious clarity. He cannot even gain satisfaction. So he said, is he considered someone who cannot sacrifice? He said, yes. Though he kept himself in that position, that's fine. If he kept, that's his sin. But he doesn't have to sacrifice if he cannot find or fulfill the requirement of the sacrifice. So he has to do two things. Fast, it is sufficient, but he has to ولكن لابد أن يعمل على أن يذبح عنه على الوجه المطلوب في مكة. But however, he has to put efforts that someone slaughters with the fulfilled required conditions in Mecca or in any place in the Haram. And it is far away that he is unable to do that. It's not like it's far away to believe or to even consider that he's not able to at all. He says, knowing that علما أن عدم الاطمئنان بقيام الشركات المختصة بالذبح المجال الملحق على الوجه المطلوب لا يبرر الاقتصار على الصيام بل يجمع بينهما في مثل ذلك على أحوط وجوه. He says that There are so many slaughtering houses in Mina or around Mina, okay? I mean, the places around Mina, Ma'asim, and all those things. Uh, so I'm not satisfied that they would be slaughtering it properly. He said, that is not sufficient for you to fast. If you really are in that position, then fast and let one of the slaughterhouses slaughter for you, which you don't have satisfaction on the basis of obligatory precaution. So you have secured the precautionary measures by getting doubtful slaughtering and by fasting in a replacement of sacrifice. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have very few rules remaining for the sacrifice. It is a lengthy